Sheridan, what are you doing out here?
I just needed some air.
Well, it's freezing. Here, let me walk you back to the cottage.
No.
Sheridan, what is it?
I'm not crazy, am I?
Of course you're not crazy, Sheridan. Why would you say that?
Forget it, Ethan. It's my problem.
Sheridan, I'm your nephew. I love you. If something's wrong, I want to help you deal with it. Now tell me what happened.
I had a talk with Julian about that night.
The night you...
The night I murdered someone.
Sheridan, don't say that.
That's what I believe happened.
What did Father say?
He said it was nothing more than a young girl's overactive imagination. That it was just a bad dream that I had when I fell asleep on the couch in the living room.
But you remember that night so vividly.
That's what I tried to tell him. I mean, how could all these years of pain be caused by nothing more than a child's nightmare?
You've always been so sure about what happened that night.
And ever since I've come back to Harmony, to this house, that night has seemed more real than ever. I just don't know what to think anymore.
I wish I could help you, but all I know about that night is what you told me.
I'm saying you don't believe me anymore either.
Sheridan, of course I believe you. I'm on your side.
I know, Ethan. I'm just so frustrated.
I just wish there was something concrete. You had some real solid evidence to prove your case.
You sound like a lawyer.
Why don't you approach this like I'd approach one of my cases? I'm a witness defending your story. What facts can I bring to this? The one fact I really know I have is that I heard you scream that night. I know because your scream woke me up.
You never saw anything? A body, coffin?
No. I was told to stay in my room. In fact, I didn't even know what happened until you told me recently.
And Julian and Alistair, they never said anything to you?
Nothing. I was just a kid, a few years younger than you. Adults in the family made it very clear that night was not to be discussed, in or out of the family. My father told me that you had been sent away to boarding school in Paris.
Boarding school? It was a private hospital. I was surrounded by psychiatrists who were all intent on telling me that that night never happened, that I dreamed it all.
But you didn't believe them.
No.
Even as a little girl, you refused to be intimidated because you stuck with what you believe. And you wouldn't have had the courage if you didn't know deep down inside that what did happen that night happened.
Why hasn't anyone in the family told me the truth?
I don't know, but I'm not going to let you suffer anymore. We're going to get to the bottom of this.
How?
We're going to talk to my father. We're going to find out what really happened that night.
I'll make sure that what happened stays hidden forever.
Tell us, Father, what has to stay hidden forever?
But this time, I want the truth, Julian.
Well, Father?
I'll have to call you back.
Keep me informed.
I will.
So, Julian, what were you talking to Alistair about?
Alistair.
Oh, come on, Julian. I recognize our own father's voice.
You must know we were discussing how to make sure the press never finds out about your stay in that private facility in Paris.
It was a mental hospital. Why don't you just say it?
Well, whatever. The press would have a field day with it.
Oh, I could just imagine their embarrassment of trying to explain why my own father sent his defenseless child away to a mental hospital.
We were trying to save you embarrassment, Sheridan. That's why Father and I both ask you to refrain from any further behavior that might call undue attention to yourself.
What behavior?
Well, crashing into police cars, throwing cream pies at Officer Lopez Fitzgerald.
It was a Halloween prank.
For heaven's sake, you are a grown woman. Frankly, such behavior makes you appear unbalanced.
Unbalanced?
Father and I are only thinking of you, Sheridan.
You weren't thinking of Sheridan. You're hiding something.
He's hiding the truth about that night.
Oh, not that again. I told you.
Sheridan was here in the living room screaming. I heard her screaming.
She was having a nightmare.
I had blood on my hands. There was a body.
There was
Who
no...
was it, Julian? I demand to know.
Let it go, Sheridan.
I want a name, Julian. Who was the body under the bloody sheet? Who was the corpse in the coffin?
There never was a corpse.
Yes, there was.
She just wants to know the truth, Father.
I'll tell you the truth. You were a child. You fell asleep on the couch in the living room. You had a bad dream. You woke the entire household with your screaming. Father tried to comfort you, but you were hysterical. You kept going on and on about a body, a corpse.
There was a
coffin.
body.
There was no body. Even as a child, you were overly emotional, overly dramatic. You wouldn't calm down, so Father had no choice but to send you for treatment in Paris.
Why couldn't she have been treated here in the States?
The family couldn't risk the story getting out. You know how Alistair abhors publicity.
He didn't want anyone to know that I'd seen a body.
No, he didn't want anyone to hound his obviously already unbalanced daughter. He wanted you to be treated in privacy. He cared about your welfare, Sheridan.
Why didn't anyone talk to me about this? And why did the family refuse to tell me about all this until now?
The French psychiatrist told us not to challenge your beliefs. You were young, you were fragile. They were concerned you'd suffer a lifetime of emotional harm.
Wait a minute. Sheridan's been a grown woman for years. Why didn't anyone say anything before now about this?
As long as the story never got out, the family didn't care.
You mean the family didn't care about me?
Oh, bring out the violins. Here we go again.
It's the truth, isn't it?
We didn't tell you because we assumed, fools that we were, that you would act like a grown-up and move on with your life.
I can't stop seeing these images. The body in the coffin.
It never happened.
Yes, it did.
Are you absolutely sure?
Yes.
Would you bet your life on it? And would you bet your family's life on it? Because that's what you're doing if you continue to insist that you saw a body in this room that night. You're jeopardizing the future of the entire Crane family, including Ethan. Is that what you want to do?
I would never do anything to hurt Ethan's future.
I know that, Sheridan. Father's just using it as an excuse to get to you.
The only thing I want to get from my sister is a word that she'll forget this ridiculous childhood fantasy of hers.
Don't you think I want to forget too?
Well, then just do it. Think of the family for once in your life.
Has anyone in this family besides Ethan ever thought of me and my feelings? Certainly not Father. He always blamed me for Mother's death.
Oh, that's absurd.
Mother never recovered after my birth. And Alistair never forgave me for that.
Father never blamed you for anything. It's your overly active imagination again. The psychiatrists even said so.
The psychiatrist?
In fact, they think that was the cause of your dream.
What?
And subconsciously, you always felt guilty over Mother's death. Ergo, the coffin, the blood you claim to have seen on your fingers, symbolizes your guilt over her death.
They said that?
Well, even you have to admit that makes sense.
It seems so real. The body.
For the last time, there was no body. Sheridan, for heaven's sake, would you get on with your life and stop using a ridiculous childhood fantasy as a crutch to justify a lifetime of personal failures and disastrous relationships?
Father, that's wrong and unfair.
Maybe my brother is right.
Of course I'm right.
I need to get out of here.
Sheridan, let me take you to dinner in town.
Let me go freshen up and then meet me at my cottage.
Did you have to be so hard on her?
Yes. If it'll finally make her believe the truth.
I don't really believe you.
I don't care, Ethan. But do us all a favor. Won't you talk your beloved auntie out of her ridiculous fantasy about dead bodies? Nothing good will come of it for her or for you. You're not good for any of us, Sheridan.
Thanks. Oh, no, Luis is here. Do you want to leave?
No, I don't care about Luis right now. All I care about is finding out if there was a body or if I am crazy like Alistair and Julian seem to think.